Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chege from the Internet Society. Thank you for being with us at this 5th Africa DNS Forum. This wrap-up session is usually to give an opportunity to the senior leadership from the respective organizers of the Africa DNS Forum to say a few final words, give input on this event itself. We've heard about the future of the Africa DNS Forum, and now we'll hear about, we'll give the senior leadership from the various organizations to give their final comments. So I would like to introduce my panel. On my far left is Mr. Michuki Mwangi. Michuki is the Senior Development Manager for Africa for the Internet Society. He'll be representing our Director for the Africa Regional Bureau, Dr. Dawit Bekele, who was not able to travel. On my immediate left is Mr. Pierre Dandjinou. Pierre Dandjinou is the VP Stakeholder Engagement for the Africa region. On my right is Ali Haji. Ali Haji is the VP of AfTLD. And on my far right is Eric Roberg, who is a tzNIC member, and he'll be representing the tzNIC board chair, who was unable to be with us at this event. So we do understand we are between you and lunch. That's why we've prepared each of us 2-hour-long presentations, so sorry about that. So I think for this DNS forum, personally, I've been involved since the very first one. And it's, I'm very honored to be here now in this session. I think for the first time, I've seen a lot of calls for action rather than just making this a talk event, as was explained in the previous session. So I think that's a very good outcome. I'd like to invite, perhaps you can start with Eric, since you're our host more or less, to give a few remarks.
In Dar es Salaam, they have a term to refer to the outside of Dar es Salaam. They call it upcountry. And I'm from upcountry. So whenever we have a meeting, everyone else has an office here in Dar, and they're all called away. So apologies that I'm not the replacement, but I'm standing in for Professor Mjema. That said, I was a board member of tzNIC from the beginning for the first 6 years. My company is a registrar, and just so happens that I only sent one staff to this meeting, but happens that there's 4 employees from my company that are attending here in different capacities. So 10 minutes ago, Abibu comes and gives me this piece of paper and says, write down some notes because you're standing in. We believe at tzNIC that collaboration is the key for the future in 3 areas: technical, marketing, and payment solutions. And I mean collaboration among all of Africa. tzNIC's been very involved getting support technical issues from other people. So we were one of the first adopters of, for example, DNSSEC, and Simon has gone to at least 2 countries, I believe, and assisted them. I agree and I disagree a little bit with Mark Elkins about a comment. I agree 100% we cannot drop the technical part, but our point is let's do what we did technically in marketing. And probably tzNIC, like other ones, we're not very good in marketing. In fact, we're probably pretty bad. Let's put the same focus without decreasing the focus on technical on marketing. We don't have good uptake of our domains. Payment solutions is very interesting, I think, to all of us. As soon as we had that payment discussion, you could see several people running up here to talk to people about their solutions. We're all having a hard time with our payment solutions and our marketing. We suggest that in terms of now we need to start sharing our access to our registries and being able to register outside of our respective countries. Maybe we should start, instead of thinking of all of Africa, we start by regions, East Africa, Central, North, and Southern, so that we can work on being able to do registrations across the border and work out the payment schemes. After that experience, then we can go to a continental solution. That gives, and now I'm speaking specifically about our own situation here in Tanzania, we need to look at our policies. When we, 10 years ago, whenever it was, when we initially set up tzNIC, we looked at a more of a closed thing. We didn't allow registrations from outside the country. You had to prove that you were somehow based here. We need to change our regulations so that we can participate in registrations outside our borders and allow registrations from outside. And we need to work on our local forums. It's all about getting more uptake on our domain registrations. tzNIC's come a long way, but it's been through collaboration and sharing. And we urge the African registries and the DNS Forum and the organizers and other supporting organizations to continue with the spirit of building a healthy domain name business in Africa, technically and business-wise. We wish you all a safe trip, but not before you visit some of our spectacular sites here in Tanzania. Zanzibar is a short ferry ride or air ride, and we, of course, we have Kilimanjaro, Ngorongoro Crater, and many other places. See you next time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eric. I'll now invite Ali Haji from AfTLD to give his closing comments.
Thank you very much. Our 3-day meeting has come to a close. We have had very enriching debates. I wanted, first of all, to apologize on behalf of the chairperson of AfTLD, who could not make the trip to be here with us because of a visa problem. However, he has tried to follow from the distance all the debates, and I think he's there with us spiritually. During these 3 days, we have tried to draw the lessons from our past experiences in order to build the future. We have tackled many questions which are going to make it possible for us to develop the DNS industry in Africa. We are going to try to conquer the market, because it is in doing so that we can compete with the rest of the world or with other registries and other structures. It is clear that many factors have to be taken into account in the development of the DNS industry. That's the reason why it was said clearly that technically we still have much to do, and although there are things that have been done, we have to organize ourselves in order to have available services. The infrastructures are in the process of being put in place. We want to have optic fiber everywhere. We have to take advantage of that. When it comes to the organizational level, I think all the AfTLDs should organize themselves very well. They have to have systems that are going to respond to the needs of the users. And on the operational level, we should have a collaborative model which is going to make it possible for registrars, registries, and end users and all the actors in this sector to share, to converse, and to do everything possible so that we can move forward. AfTLD has taken into account all the observations that were made, and we reiterate our commitment and to try everything possible to work with all our partners, and we also have said that we'll try our level best to include, to involve everybody so that success be possible. The first edition of the Africa DNS Forum took place in South Africa, and today we are in Dar es Salaam. It means some effort have been made. We are now having tangible results. Before, we did not have this kind of participation. We did not have this number of participants, but I hope that when we go back home, we are going to try and do something that is going to, that will be conducive to better results. And this is going to make it possible for us to have positive conclusion, because all the actors will be involved in these activities. I want to thank all our partners who have always trusted us and who are continuing to give us the support that we need so that AfTLD can play its leadership role in this region. I'd like to thank everybody. We are very grateful. We hope that we are not going to disappoint you. It is true that you are giving us something. You are supporting us, and our word to you is that we are going to try our level best in order not to disappoint you, in order to be successful. From now on up to next year, we'll come back here. We'll come back to the next edition with concrete results. We'll tell you what we have done and what is in the process of being done in order for us to achieve the results that we are all waiting for in the region. Thank you to the local host for his for their hospitality. Yesterday we were at this dinner where we followed a very good spectacle. If I was watching TV, I would have said, no, this is not possible. But yesterday what I saw was incredible. Thank you to the local host for the hospitality. We really felt at home. Even if there were times where some participants said, well, they had a feeling that they were in the boarding school because they were not going out. But yesterday, at least, we had enough energy. That was good for us to have energy so that to produce good results.
I would now like to invite Pierre to speak on behalf of ICANN. Pierre.
Thank you very much. And briefly, as far as we are concerned on ICANN, I would just like to report that at our recent, it's a year ago actually, a trip to Addis Ababa when the incoming CEO of ICANN met with officials at the Africa Union. He has this to say that, well, internet, for Africa will only be about what Africans themselves, are looking forward to. It was a call for participation, for action. It was a call for Africa to use internet, to solve its own problems, So therefore, it was about DNS for us is about a tool to achieve those things. It's about a tool that helps provide those opportunities that you need. But I also believe that Africa needs innovative solutions, and through DNS you can do those things. I think we've been here from the beginning. We started in Durban, as you said, at one of our meetings. And what we are seeing today is quite rewarding, actually, that many things have been done, have been said. And we are also ready, to move forward. But then I think we need to, we already done it here. We took stock, on the progress. Maybe what we would like to put a stress on, and of course we are already talking about sustainability. We are already saying that it's not about us. It's about Africa. It's about AfTLDs. It's about registrars. We are only here to support. But then we need to really be focused. We also need to be spreading, the best practices. I was quite happy to hear that. Well, Rwanda, for instance, happily came to Tanzania to look for, best examples or to lessons learned, and then to offer support. I think that's quite important. I'm now also seeing stress on having local or kind of localizing this DNS forum, which is good. In fact, IGF, some of them hopefully know about IGF, the Internet Governance Forum. When they started more than 10 years ago, I think personally I was one of those who were saying that this Internet governance issue, in fact, 90% of the solutions are at home, at least for the African community. 10 years ago, African minister will go to IGF, putting question on infrastructure, help us, increase accessibility. But in fact, IGF was not there to provide any accessibility. It's about talking. It's about debating. So the job is to be done at home, And I think they are now find out that definitely it has to be done at home. So it's important to localize, those reflections and build this sort of multi-stakeholder environment that we believe is quite important. And it's conducive to, having, internet thrive in the country. Quickly, we believe in this, capacity development on DNS issues. We provided a DNS study for us because it was important that we be clear about, what we are achieving, what type of impact we are having, and what's next to be done. We really hope that it will evolve, and that the observatory also will also be something real that we all contribute to. Of course, I'm still expecting feedback from you. Haven't yet heard about it. Concrete, what are we? What are the steps? What are we doing? And these are things we would like to hear about. And we also want to hear more about the partnership that we develop. I think we haven't done much as DNS forum, meaning that we need to broaden the spectrum a little bit. I'm not seeing most of those who are benefiting from this DNS, here. We need to do more in the future. And then to finish, I would like to say that for us, cross-fertilization is important. issues pertaining to cross-border issue, for instance, in Africa are important. And I'm happy that some of the CCTLD registries are finding well. Are we right when we say that to actually even think about a domain name, we need to be resident of the country? Or do we need to broaden the spectrum and, well, I said whoever is willing to use your domain name? I mean, these are ideas that are there. And I also have in mind what Lucky was saying, that Africa might just be disruptive in this environment at some point. But when we mean disruption, it can be a kind of positive disruption, actually. The type of disruption, internet is bringing everywhere. So how are we, what are they thinking about this thing? And then how are we discussing about those things? He said something quite clear. He said maybe that means that we need to harmonize, the pricing system. I know you didn't talk about this thing because, as former president of Gabon would say, money is too precious. You don't talk about money in public. But it's important that at some point we discuss. And the cruel reality will be there because a few years ago when we were talking about Dot Africa, we were kind of evangelizing about Dot Africa. People would say, well, but this thing you are doing, how about our own CCTLDs? What's going to happen to them? Now we do have the Dot Africa now. Now we have to face those issues so that everyone benefits from it. So thanks again for coming, and then especially I'd like to thank the host. I think Abibu, you did a great job. I must say, when I came here, even on the eve of this forum, I didn't know exactly what's going to happen. Because when you were put the question, we didn't have any concrete sort of response. You'll be saying, yeah, we'll be doing it. And being used to planning ahead, for 1 year, I was saying, well, I don't know what we are going to see here, but definitely I think we are kind of satisfied with this. So thanks so much for that. With that, I think I got a few words from Swahili, and but not enough, so I should be coming back certainly and visiting Zanzibar and the rest. So thanks again for having us here, and again, ICANN is here to support, and we will still continue supporting in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pierre. I'd like now to invite Michuki Mwangi to give his comments on behalf of Internet Society.
Thank you. So I will be speaking on behalf of Internet Society. As Kevin mentioned earlier, our Regional Bureau Director, David Bekele, was not able to attend. So I would like to start off first from a personal experience when I speak about the bottom-up process and why it's important. Some of you may know, some years back, I used to be a CCTLD manager. It's a hat I wore for some years, and now I see one of my colleagues who took over after I left is doing a great job. But the important thing about the starting point was what we did with registrars. We had registrars that we were not very fond of because we call them briefcase registrars. These are guys who were very innovative and they could see the potential of the domain name space, but they never had an office. And this was just when the mobile phone revolution was coming in. So all they had was a briefcase and a phone. And that was how they registered domain names for anyone who was interested, because tzNIC was there. We didn't like them much because there was very little assurance in terms of the fact that they will be there the next day. And so we were very conscious of the fact that what happens if this guy gets run over by a bus? How do we reassure the registrants of this registrar of some, sustainability in terms of operations, support, etc. Because it's a one-man show. So we were more fond of the more established ISPs than of these one-man shows, briefcase registrars, as we call them then. Today, if you go to Kenya, and Abdallah is here, can correct me, the largest registrars are not the ISPs that had the history of doing domain name registrations. Those briefcase guys are the largest and most active registrars that the ccTLD has, .ke has. So what happened, and how did .ke manage to nurture these briefcase guys who are just enterprising to get them to the level that they're bigger than most of the large ISPs that exist in the country? And if you look at their websites, they're actually much better done than the ISPs who have all the money. It's focus. They're focused. My single business is selling domain names. So they grew that. But when you look at all the other countries in the region where they don't have registrars, or the registrars are still young, how is the ccTLD able to support them? In Kenya, we played a very big role in supporting them to grow. We didn't like them very much, but we didn't lock the door for them either. So it's important that the role we need to play at the national level, at the local level, for each ccTLD is clear, that you are primarily the leader when it comes to developing the local ecosystem. It's your responsibility. You have to be innovative about it to take it to the next level. So please think about it as you go back home. Share your experiences. As it has been mentioned, the ccTLDs are actually sharing experiences amongst themselves through AfTLD. It is going to be important to learn from others, take what you can and use that to grow the local DNS ecosystem so that you can compete with others. Do not be outcompeted by other markets that are more mature than you. Get into the race, get into the game. Secondly, I wanted to talk about AfTLD. ISOC's relationship with AfTLD has been long. Since 2006, when AfTLD was renewing or trying to revamp its operations, came to the Internet Society and said, we need help. It's been 11 years. And we are proud of what AfTLD has been able to achieve. And we are looking forward to even a better future for AfTLD, because it's reached a point where it's developed a strong community, and that community is very active and supporting it. So we need to help strengthen AfTLD to the next level. So we look forward to more people coming on board to support AfTLD to reach its goals. Lastly, with respect to the DNS forum, I think my colleagues have already mentioned most of the stuff that we need to do, so I will not repeat that. My only call and request is that let's not wait for the next 12 months. In fact, if I had more time, I would start saying who is the chair of this working group. But I'd like to see that formed next week, please. Barak, next week, let's get the working groups up. Let's get people who are involved. I hope that's not telling me my time is up. I would like to see more commitments in those working groups, whatever format they take, to start doing something. We have to do, whatever it is, something. It will not be perfect. We are not looking for perfection. We are looking for a starting point. We will get it right as time goes by. So let's start somewhere. In the next 12 months, let's assess how far we've gone and what else needs to get done. Not start what we say today. And that's the only way we can move things forward. So I'm not going to look at the next 5 years in terms of long term, but that will be probably well defined based on the steps we make over the next 12 months. And those next 12 months start today, because we start counting down the next DNS forum 12 months from today. So next week is even 1 week less, the next DNS forum. So with that, I would like to conclude. I think we had some statistics to give with respect to the number of participants who've been following remotely, etc. But I think I'll leave that to Kevin to provide us that data. And as I do so, I'd just like to thank everyone for their support over the years. I think as a ex-DNS person, if I could say that, I am really, really proud of the progress that this community has made over the last few years. And I'm looking forward to a time when this room will be twice as big and twice as large in terms of the number of domain names and the size of the ecosystem. And the adjacent possible is just here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Michuki. I think we have had words of advice and words of wisdom from the panel. The way it works, maybe if it's not very clear to the audience how the DNS forum is organized, we have what we call the senior leadership, which is the organizing committee, which is represented here, and then we have what is called the secretariat, which is sort of the the guys who actually get the work done once the brains behind the the activity put out what should be done. So what you're seeing up here is the people who have actually been part of the DNS forum in terms of its formation, and also who have contributed to a lot of the ideas as to how this event should progress. And they've been involved from the very beginning. So I think they deserve another round of applause for the work they've been doing, and we hope to have them continue that work. So a round of applause for each of the organizations. Okay, so to respond to what Michuki was saying, so we do have some statistics based on the remote users that we've had. So in terms of attendees here, physically, I think the number has been between 100 and 120. Maybe Abibu can correct me if I'm not sure, but the number that's been joining us remotely, this small setup that you see here, the statistics that I've obtained from the live stream, we had 2,160 unique views from across the world. So that means at one point or another, there were 2,160 unique people who came to view the live stream at one point or another. Then we had users who came in through Facebook. So this year we tried to put the stream on Facebook. I don't know if some of you managed to see that. On Facebook we had 392 unique views. So that's always encouraging to see that those who are not able to make it here in person also follow remotely. And then just a few words from me. I think it's very good to see the community engagement in this and the support. When we started the first DNS forum, we didn't have very many sponsors from Africa. That's changing a lot. There are more and more CCTLDs willing to take up, sponsoring the event. We now have, even .Africa contributing a domain name, and like to pass a message from the people hosting the website. They say it's been overwhelmed by traffic. They had not provisioned enough resources. So it is working, but they're trying to provision more resources. So perhaps, Barak, maybe another action point is sometime we need to find someone who can host DNSforum.Africa with enough resources so that we don't, we can keep up with the demand. So that's good to see more, community support for the activity. So I wouldn't want to keep you much longer from lunch. I'd like to thank you all for taking part in this event. I'd like to also thank our hotel for providing us with a very good venue, and of course our translators who have been with us, who have tried to keep up with all the acronyms that we've provided them. So that brings us to the end of the 5th Africa DNS Forum. We are hoping that you'll be joining us for the future DNS forums. AfTLD being the custodians of the event, there's a mailing list which I think all of you are part of, and you'll be receiving more information about how you can get the presentations, and also the live stream. Everything that happened here has been recorded, and Barak, I'm sure, will be guiding all of us how to view that. So without anything else, I'd like to thank all of you. I think you all deserve a round of applause as well. Now I'll hand over to Bob for the housekeeping.
Very quickly, Kevin. So for clarity, all the presentations, the pictures over the last 2 days, and all the details that were passed here, the live stream, we'll actually archive them and upload them on the website. Might not be today, but that is where you are going to get all the material from this forum. So on the same platform, and that being a dedicated website, will also include even for the past events. So that will be our resource for the DNS forum from inception as we go forward. I think lastly, in terms of the next edition, AfTLD will circulate information on this, on those who would want to host the next edition to submit their bids. There is a criteria, kind of a checklist. We would want to see many countries and CCTLDs step up to actually host this event. As you know, it's collaboration. So we call upon you that when we send that message, please respond positively, and we would be happy to visit you in your country. So thank you very much. I think you are invited for lunch, unless Abibu. Yeah.
Abibu, before you start, I forgot to recognize one person. So all the remote people that we've seen, there's a gentleman who's been managing the live stream here. His name is Henok. He's brought us 2,100 unique views. So a round of applause, please, for Henok managing that. Over to you, Abibu.
Some quick announcements, but there are only two. First of all, it has been proposed that we take a group photo before lunch, just outside of the tent where we had lunch. I think it's the same place we'll have lunch. So we take a group photo, and then we go for lunch. And the second announcement is for those who registered for a trip to the data center, it will be after lunch, and unfortunately, I might not be there. I have to attend a certain interview. So Ismail, the TISPA General Manager, will lead you. But for the time being, the contact person is Frank Habich. Can you stand up? And my tzNIC member, Eric. So the local host is tzNIC, but the local host is Tanzania, and all Tanzanians are local hosts. So this has been delegated to Frank and the TISPA chairman. Thank you so much, and enjoy your rest of the day. And you have been told Zanzibar is 10 minutes flight, but 20 in total if we include the taxing time. Thank you so much.
And I believe DNSforum.Africa is now up. I think you can now check. Okay, yes, and kindly pick your personal belongings. We are now going to close the room, so make sure you're with your personal belongings, laptops, phones, and everything. Yes. And yes, the website is up. I can see it. So DNSForum.Africa, you can check. Abibu, where's the group photo?